up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump, I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The 10 brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's God, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. In the glass, risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper, welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to aim again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rise. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Shots are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. But I'll reload, I play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump, I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The 10 brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promise.
Good afternoon, guys. How's it going? Hope you had an awesome day so far today. We got in the chat. We got Noah, Coma, Sterling. How you doing, Sterling? Got Mandy Box. Boy, I always say Box. We got Chow, Mikey, Josh. What's up, guys? I was preparing for a short, and then it just invalidated, so no short there. What I was hoping for here, we had the confluence of like the 97-day point of control, and we were starting to form a potential head and shoulders pattern, which is like a warning sign of a reversal, basically. It's a failure to create a higher high. We create a flip, and then eventually we get that change of character. And then we'd start targeting the liquidity that's down below here. We had a really strong start of the day. We broke after bouncing off of this 2-day value area high and demand zone here. that we generated. Aggressively went up, retraced it, retested, and now we were preparing for shorts with the confluence of the sweep that just occurred in the higher time frames, and the we had this potential double top or head and shoulders here, and yeah, neither of them confirmed, unfortunately. The SFP confirmed, of course. We got like the 15-minute SFP right here where it's showing me this break of structure line, because it once was an SFP with this confirming candle right here. And yeah, we're looking for a dissection entry, and unfortunately we didn't get the head and shoulders, but I did take the SFP trade and only did half risk, and I got stopped out on that one. But now we're getting above this 97-day point of control. So our big area of concern that we're coming up towards, if we zoom out on this bigger picture, we have a 6-hour order block inside this little cluster here. We have our previous lows. That is the start of this really large like supply concern right here. And we got our previous lows basically close to the 6-hour equilibrium point. The equilibrium point, just think of it as like the center point of an order block. And we have the confluence of the 200-day EMA here. So as we get closer and closer to this order block, this is the order block floor, previous lows, 200-day here. As we get closer to all these clustered forms of confluences here, we'll be looking for a short. But then now that we've broken past the point control, we got to treat the point control as our main barrier concern. We might get new evolved structure along the way that might change that, but right now the 97-day point of control is where I would be targeting if I shorted around here. Blaze, how you doing, man? We got Island Man, Iron Man, all the mans are in here. Sterling Man. But Island Man's got 3 ends there, Sterling, so you're in trouble. Look out. Island Man's going for your title. Okay, so we got our daily bullish change of character occurrence comes from a break of this high way up here. So this is where a lot of the open mouth thumbnails will start coming up on YouTube all over the place. We'll get above by the time we break that high, we'd be above the 200-day, so we could use that as a form of support. And our positioning would be also good for a retest to the value area high if we got that high. But that's a long ways from now. For now, yeah, we got to be concerned about the fact that we're in a high liquidity zone from this 50-day range, right? And now we're taking all that liquidity, and it starts to get colder after we take the liquidity from above this supply here. And that's where our order block is. That's where our previous lows are. That's where our 200-day EMA is. So with all that confluence, we could start coming back down, maybe to at least retest these highs a little bit stronger before returning back up and maintaining this momentum here. We could draw momentum. I did clear my charts a little bit. Not too much, but I did clear my charts a little bit, so it's not too chaotic. But here we should draw an uptrending momentum. Right, this is the pace of the buyers. Right, so when we lose this momentum, we could prepare, or if we lose this momentum, we could prepare for us coming back down to take all this liquidity. But that's like the bearish case scenario. Short term, let's go back. That break of structure. Our key level right now before we flip bearish again right now is right here. But now that we're above that point control, like I said before, we could start building new key levels with newly formed structure as we get closer to this confluence for shorts. And now we just got to watch this potentially acting as a form of demand with the confluence of that 97-day. So any shorts that we take, this is going to be a big barrier concern. So we need to breach. Yeah, this would be a zone where you would set your alarms so you can be reactional if we have an opposing change of character, or you set your alarms to know when to hold your trade if we have the continuation structure instead with the break of structure. I'm going to delete this. Technically, yeah, the pathing it's there, but the R&R isn't anymore. If we break that, we still have a high probability pathing of coming down towards this VWAP, getting a bounce with the confluence of these previous highs being retested, right? Maybe retest the previous low from that. And then we have our orb low, which is also in confluence with previous highs. That could also induce a bounce. And then eventually, targeting where most liquidity is within the structure around here. We'll see what happens. What kind of posture we get. Maybe we can still get the head and shoulders, right? It could fractalize, right? And what I mean by that is like, creating mini-me versions of everything. So if we have like a double, right now it's technically like a form of double top that just wasn't confirmed. We could have something like that here, and then drop after testing that 6-hour order block. But yeah, that's Bitcoin. Nothing too exciting. It's just sitting on our hands waiting for the short opportunity, or using the short confluences to tell you when to exit existing longs. So if you're in a long position, awesome job. You're doing great so far. We can look at Cardano too. Cardano, we spoke about on, what day is it today? Monday. Yeah, so we spoke about it on Monday, how we had like this, basically, not picture perfect, but at least not in this time frame. 5 minutes picture perfect. So we had a break out of the value area. So if any trend traders are learning right now, and you want to become a trend trader where you capture the larger moves, you can only be trading 20% of the time. But what you want to look for to protect yourself from quote unquote fake outs is to watch value area data like this. And when you see it break past, like all these times here, you prepare for two scenarios. One scenario is the retest and then higher high, like we got right here. And that's a trend-based warning, warning you that price action is likely going to go up. And we got that, and then we figured, okay, this is where our main area of concern would be, because we had that 27-day previous point of control. We had the 50-day EMA here, right? And we had some supply here. And our first initial concern was these previous lows that could act as a form of resistance, right? So if anyone who's stuck in any buy positions here would get out as soon as we got there. And we could see we had a little bit of turbulence, and then we broke right through it. But yeah, I was talking about the two scenarios, I only spoke about one. So the break of structure continuation is a warning. When we get that higher high, once you get that higher high, it warns you that we could be trending from here, going back to a previous valley area. And this valley area high had the confluence of being at a valley area low. This valley area here was about 5 days, but the valley area low that we just got acceptance into while simultaneously leaving this one was 27 days. So it has a lot of weighted value here. So you look for that break structure for the continuation, or a bearish flip, or a bearish change of character. And then you can start targeting the opposite side of the valley area whenever that happens. Right? All right, so yeah, we busted right through this confluence right here, like it wasn't even there. Create a large fair value gap, so we kind of expected it would probably return. And we did get that return, so we can delete this noise now. We don't need this anymore. Congrats to anyone who may have taken that. But yeah, so here we retested this newly formed demand. We broke down trending momentum, and then we got that bullish change of character when we broke this high here. So this was the warning sign that we're going to be coming back up. So far, when we get this little supply concern, I believe there's an order block within there in the larger time frames that we spoke about this morning. A 45-minute order block here, and a golden pocket from the high to this low. Golden pocket 76. But it looks like we're trying to fight our way through it. We had a good initial reaction, bring us down, but right now we're coming back up from the pairing liquidity influence that Bitcoin has over Cardano. So Bitcoin's a big boss of Cardano. It does sometimes have relative strength, but usually follows along Bitcoin's short-term price action pretty well. So we got that that bounce. But yeah, around here, if we return, it could still be a great spot to prepare for longs. So you want to look for it. Same kind of reaction that we saw here on like the 5-minute time frame. A bullish change of character after testing this key level, and preferably sweeping the low a little bit, so we can take that newly added liquidity, so we can use it as fuel to help drive the price back up and maybe take out this high. Based on Bitcoin's positioning for Cardano, Bitcoin's getting closer and closer to all these bearish confluences that could induce the price actually to come back down. Cardano in the bigger picture, if we do get that higher high, then our next little area of concern was this wick level high here at 43.72. Yeah, and past that is the 27-day value area high. Now this is why I love value area data. It just tells the story so cleanly that it just makes it so much easier to like follow along the data alongside with your structural confluence to tell you when it's time to jump in, when it's time to get out, and when to prepare, right? So here would be a time to prepare for an exit plan, and even more so here where all the supply is. So as we deviate away from this value area high, this is going to be an amazing spot to prepare for shorts. But until then, we get the short-term game over here that we can prepare for. Short-term, pull back down to retest this, and maybe get the higher high from there. The longer we kind of range for Cardano, the healthier it would be for the reset, all the oscillators, and help drive new trade participants to drive the price up higher. That's the same kind of story with Bitcoin. This is our key level to invalidate the continuation. You're hopeful to, front run this kind of stuff, especially since the R&R is not exactly there. The risk to reward ratio is not there. But the story is there, so you'll know like if you're in a long, this is like your final warning to get out. Solana did something pretty darn big. We finally conquered the 252-day previous point of control. So this allows Solana to have a much higher probability of reaching the value area high. Let me zoom out to tell the story a little bit better. So here, we were range bound against $44 for, 32 days. We used it as resistance for 32 days. And we came up, we had multiple SFP reactions off it that were awesome, great trade setups. But now we finally broke past it, and we're trying to take that unclaimed high to confirm it as support. And if we confirm it as support, then we could start coming up towards our next barrier concerns, which is pretty much right in our face. Like similar to Bitcoin with a 6-hour order block, Solana has similar opposing structure where we have a value area low here, 4-hour order block, and this big supply concern here. So we could likely hit our head here and come back down. But this time around, we're likely to be using $44 as a very strong level of support instead of resistance. And then from here, longer term, we can start seeing Solana take its journey back to that value area high at $170. And this value area data that I'm pulling from right now is way over here. If we zoom out on the 6-hour, that's the one we were range bound here for 250 days, right? So where we are relative to this previous structure is roughly around here. And we're trying to make our way back up. We ping pong back and forth in this range over and over again. It's what initially created so much interest at $44. But then when we came back down through here in the future, we used it as a form of support and resistance consistently, stacking more and more interest in that area. And then we finally broke past it. So yeah, Solana's looking super bullish right now, and we're very close to confirming that support. We got uptrending momentum here. This is the more broad momentum that you can mark on your chart. We broke the downtrending momentum. that held us down from the all-time high. And we have this evolving momentum here. And when we were last looking at it on Monday, we were talking about this, let's see, yeah, SFP sweep. Got a slight front run to it. We flipped though. Let's see here. Yeah, we flipped on the 5 minute. It's not a bearish change of character. We didn't get that till down here, but this is an early warning sign that we were going to be coming down after a front run of that SFP. It was at least front ran on the Binance chart. It might have been taken on something like Bybit or other high liquidity exchanges or Blowfin. But then when we broke that, we were targeting at these lows here for support where this demand is right here. And we held it as support and we came back up. We got another great opportunity here. We got the SFP right here. We hit the SFP technical target. The technical target of an SFP, for those of you who don't know, whenever we sweep that previous high and we close below it, our technical target is the most recent proper pullback. And it'll be right here. And that target was smashed. And even got the change of character for reasoning to prepare for continuation. But then we started flipping against us shortly afterwards. But yeah, that is Solana. So I'm just waiting on maybe this higher high to see if we start climbing up towards 150 in this 152 area. This is where I start looking for opposing structure for shorts. But if we don't get up there and we instead, let's say we get an SFP sweep off this high. Let's mark this level here. We start deleting our previous wick levels. But yeah, right now, structurally, our key level is way down here. Well, we might get something better. All we need is a 2-candle pullback, higher high, and then we'll have a new strong low to induce a bearish change of character to prepare for a short at our local value area high. But right now, we have to assume bullish, because of what I just taught you about. This is a trend-based warning. We got that bullish change of character. It is internal, so it's weaker. But yeah, it's still something you got to watch out for. But yeah, right now this is our key level. We get acceptance into the value area. We get a bearish change of character. We mitigate an order block. Actually, we already mitigated that order block, so we can delete this. But then we might not have very much R&R in the setup, so we need to have some kind of pullback, then break, so you can use that as your stop loss guard when targeting this low. Or you might get a front run opportunity, like I said, like the SFP up here, or maybe a deviated change character. Don't mention 144. Don't jinx it. You were just talking about that last week. Yeah, it's the biggest level, and I think in Solana's, all of it's Solana's price action. So now that we conquered 144, and we're or at least we're close to conquering it, right? We just need that body close above this unclaimed high. Until then, this still remains, in my opinion, based on all the back testing that I've done, like this is really important for it to occur, like that body close above this level, in order for it to be a form of like actual acceptance above the point of control as a form of support. It clearly is acting as a form of support. I think we broke the downtrending momentum, but larger time frames require the close above that high. But congrats to any Solana holders, because that's a big honestly, it's a big moment. I think it should be as almost an equal struggle for us to break through it once we claim above this unclaimed high here. And the bulls are in control. You want to get into 153, 163 range. Yeah, we do have that previous value area up there too. If you zoom up, right here. This guy is what Andrew was talking about in the chat. If we were range bound here for, let's actually, if we need to monitor that, how long? before we let 9 days. So nothing too strong, but it's definitely something you still need to note. A 9-day previous value area low. Make sure you, when you're using value areas, and I like to use horizontal lines like this to kind of like mark up my previous value data so I don't have to keep looking back as much. But it's helpful to mark how old the value area is, so you're able to identify the difference between all your lines, right? Because you can have your value area high, value area low, like this right here, for example. When you're trading into this, it looks like noise, but when you start adding your timestamps on them, it tells a story a lot better when you're doing your TA. Okay, so we got the change of character. If this is confusing to you as to why we got to change a character here, not it being considered a break of structure, it's because we had an SFP below, and that involves your strong high and your strong lows. All right, we're getting there. So this would be a moment where you'd want to watch Solana, because this is where you'd get your bearish reaction or your continuation warning. All right, so here, if we get the close above, we got our continuation warning. If we sweep but close below this wick, then we have our SFP. And our technical target right now, based on this time frame, is this low. So you want to look at the most recent proper pullback. Actually, this isn't technically considered a proper pullback. We had the 2 consecutive candles, but if we look at our mother bar or our inside bar, we didn't breach the high and we didn't breach the low during the pullback. So we need to at least do one of those 2 things: breach the high during the pullback or breach the low. And then we have ourselves, it's considered a proper market structure pullback if we get those, the mother bar breached. Lower time frames, though, it's a different story. You can see how it looks like internally. Lower time frames, it's all internal structure. Let's see what we get. Okay, what to look at next? So I'm going to set an alarm for Solana for when we tap this area, so we don't miss out. Play sound. There we go. Bitcoin starting to flip too. We take that high. We did sweep the high. Let's see how we perform here. So we're coming back down to retest these previous highs. We got the point control here. We got our momentum here. So we have decent confidence to bounce again. So we'll see if we come after that unclaimed high. All right, cool. Kyle, can you go over order books for Bitcoin? What do I think of 98K? Let's take a look at the order books. Oh, my bad. Did they just get... I don't want that V2. If we get a redirect, yeah, it's a redirect. Ah, man. So they got rid of the old order book. Rude. Okay, I guess I gotta save this one. Folder, shit. AI and tools. I like to keep my tab. I know it doesn't look like it, but I like to keep my tabs organized. Okay. 98K sell wall is what you're talking about. We do see a decent one there. A total amount of 4,000 Bitcoin. I'm gonna miss that depth chart, man. $98K confluence, 4K. So this will be aligned with the 6-hour order block. If we go with a 6-hour time frame, let's actually refine this a little bit. So our order block floor is at 97,900. So about $100 undercut to that, the order book sell wall that you're seeing. So we know that there's a large amount of either a large amount of retail getting out here or one big player trying to manipulate the price to reject here. So yeah, big watch. What you can do when you have a scenario like that is you can mark your sell walls. Sell wall 4,000 BTC value. So interesting thing about limit orders, they kind of act like a magnet. They're a form of liquidity, but they are the most transparent barrier in the space. You can't get past it until all the orders are filled. So we'll likely have horizontal resistance against this, chipping away at it like armor until eventually we break through it, or we can't get past it and it induces a bearish change of character, and then trade participants help drive the price to go down lower. This is a market maker tactic to induce price to reverse. So you have to be very cautious around this area at 98,000. I appreciate you bringing that up. I like that form of confluence. It's one of my favorite forms of confluences. So if I'm going to be doing a trend-based trade, or if I'm trading even in a range, it's a decently sized range, and I look at the order books, it's like looking both ways before crossing the road. You'll know that there's not very much opposing limit orders against you when you're doing your setups. In this case, this is warning us that we're going to hit our head here. All right, so we got our bounce that we expected with all the previous high retest, point control, uptrending momentum, confluence. We just need the higher high, and then we'll see how we make our way up here. This would be a great spot to prepare for a short. Actually, this is worth just notating for the community. And our key level, once we get this higher high, guys, is going to rotate from here to here. And what I like about this key level is that if we get the body close below this wick, we'd have immediate acceptance into this demand to mitigate it. And depending on how low we close, we could close below that previous point control simultaneously, giving us a lot of confidence for a drop. And we already, we wicked that high. So yes, mark this low. Make sure you get your magnet tool out so it sticks right to the proper price action. There we go. There we go. Good morning, French Toaster. What's up, man? Thanks, man. I've been looking at order books lately, trying to figure things out. Watched your lesson. Yeah, I might have to update that lesson now, man. After you showing me that, I'm gonna have to update the lesson. I know that the information's the same. It's just the visuals. I really like to make things beginner friendly in the course. And if the tool that we're using has changed its appearance, I'm gonna have to probably redo that lesson. I just redid the SFP lesson last night. I started editing it, but it's not going to be released until probably 30-40 minutes after this live. So there'll be 3 new lessons inside the course today. Learning about SFPs. I've figured out a way that's more beginner friendly, easier to understand, so I wanted to re-record it. And a lesson on the new strategy that we built using SFPs, and then a bunch of like mock-up trades with that strategy so we can get it really drilled into your head. Okay, so here, okay, we got our bounce that we expected. We can delete this pathing, but if we do break this level now, we could look for something like this. Maybe a bounce off these lows. Yeah, something like this. But now, yeah, let's delete that. And this is where I'll be preparing next. Since we didn't get the confirmation. This is why it's really important to wait for those confirmations, guys. We were close to getting flipping bearish here, but we didn't. We got front run. We were hoping for a head and shoulders here. We didn't. We got the break of structure. It's telling you to hold your longs right now. But if we break this, this will tell you, body close below here. Yeah, this will tell you to get out of your longs, or at least take profit, depending on your position, right? Where you are sitting. If you're just down here, then yeah, take some profits. But if you're way down here, then no, you're good. You can hold that because you got a lot more opposing barriers protecting your capital. Okay. BTC upgraded process. So you double check this order book. Just want to triple check before I do that post that it is a total of. I might be switching back to bookmap if this thing is not going to be as easy to use as the old order book. Bookmap is great. It's free to use. But it shows you your limit orders in the form of a heat map. So it's pretty easy to read. Similar to what it's trying to do over here on the left-hand side. A heat map grading system. Okay. What other assets you guys like to look at, guys? We looked at Bitcoin. We looked at Cardano. We looked at Solana. I want to talk about Dash because there could be an amazing short opportunity with Dash. Let's pull that up. We're looking at it this morning. So I noticed on my watch list feed that it had a 40-some% climb. Link was requested? Okay, we can look at link too. So, well, let's zoom out on link on the bigger picture here first. Not link, Dash. So Dash, we were watching for this downtrending momentum. This is our key level here for our short that we had marked. We broke past that. We came way back up after retesting the previous high as support. And then we hit our head at that point of control and then came down. We finally broke that momentum right here after bouncing off of there's a previous value area high here. There's a demand zone in here where it started to form like a rounded bottom. And this, when we got support off the value area high in the form of a double bottom, If this local demand, we just skyrocketed up. Didn't really give you a chance to get in. Unless you got in on the lows to front run the change of character, which wasn't until way up here. But this was the key moment telling us that we were going to be coming back up to revisit up here, right? But now we're fighting this previous value area low from the supply that helped induce this whole massive range, right? We mitigated the crap out of it when we came up here the first time around. So you got to think of that armor as like basically destroyed, but in terms of liquidity, but it's still a key area of interest. So we still have to watch the value area low, the point control, the value area high as we go up, and it would help us with our confluence in preparing for the reversal. So we can either get an opposing bearish change of character like here, where we are, or internally within this to escape the value area and come back down. We have on the daily huge fair value gaps, like one from here all the way down to the low. We have one from here to our current price action. It's not confirmed yet. We need to wait for the candle to close first on the daily. But big fair value gaps, which suggests like a clearance in the order books. So it makes it easier for price action to drop because there isn't as much like buy orders in the system. So time will help invalidate the fair value gaps. But until then, our key level on the hourly, not really a good one there. 15-minute structure looks good. And the 15-minute, we just got an SFP, a bearish SFP, but it has a very short-lived target. Oh, look, yeah, we got an SFP here. The target was here. Target was hit. SFP here. Yeah, we'd be targeting, I guess, at least here. We don't have a proper pullback since this, so this wouldn't be considered an SFP, more so like a liquidity grab, at least on the 15-minute time frame. So in a scenario like that, if you see a liquidity sweep, but there's no like proper pullback to define it as an SFP, you can go to lower time frames, and it usually will give you a more grounded target. So like here, for example, swept this high, target would yet still be like this extreme low where this 5-minute order block is. So it's on its way there right now, where we'd expect to bounce. But yeah, I would get your short goggles ready for Dash, because it had a pretty unsustainable pump. And whenever we get the short, this is going to be our main area of concern. Right here. 4 hour. Yeah, we got a 4 hour order block, hour order block. It's all kind of encased into this break structure demand zone. Go back to Bitcoin. See how we're doing. Oh, we're getting close. We're almost on our way there. Slowly creeping our way up. Good afternoon, Decent Crypto. How you doing, man? So we had a request to look at Chainlink from Jeff. So let's take a peek at Chainlink. See how it's doing. I'm assuming it's doing well because it has a lot of pairing liquidity with Bitcoin, so it'll follow along with what Bitcoin's doing pretty tightly. Yeah, it looks like it's doing pretty darn good. What were we looking at last time? Last time we had this key level drawn. Must have been a while since we looked at it because, yeah, it must have been a while since we looked at it because we were looking at this as the perspective of this being the current strong low, and that evolved later on. We had a better key level form right here, but not that much better. And then we came down here. This is where we prepare for our demand bounce, and we got that. Went range bound for a while. We're going to delete this noise now. We got our bullish change of character. Once we got above this 32-day point of control, we left this valley area. We delete this supply risk. We have our wick level that we're tapping right now. Let's see where that came from. Whenever you see like a orange dotted line on my charts, you got to assume it's like a wick level high where there could be resting liquidity. So this would be an area where we prepare for like an SFP kind of reaction, like a sweep then drop. But if we have this candle close above here instead, then it'll invalidate that and it'll likely come right up to the value area high. And this is a better spot anyways when preparing for shorts. This feels very kind of like internal, higher risk, shorter term kind of play setups. Whereas up here, you can get an SFP, and even though they have like a short term target, they tend to have more follow through when you're at the top of the valley area, because then you can end up getting back down to the valley area low. Yeah, looking good. Just looking around. Okay, we have good here. So for Chainlink, you're about to get that answer within the next 6 minutes or so on the hourly time frame. It doesn't mean we can't get it on a higher time frame like the 4 hour, but once you see it invalidated on the hourly, you start rotating to higher time frames and see if you can get that SFP you're looking for. Each time frame will have a unique target based on the most recent pullback. Like the 4 hour, for example, would be here. What about the hourly? Would it be different? No, hourly would be the same. 15 minute would be shorter, but 15 minutes been invalidated, so you can't do it on the 15 minute. You'll be targeting here. Uptrending momentum. Our current key level is here. We would flip bearish, and that could evolve and change, preferably up here. So similar to Bitcoin, while we're waiting for us to test a key level up here for a better short opportunity, same thing with Chainlink. We prefer it to come up here for a better short opportunity. And even better if we swept these previous highs first. Congrats to any holders. I'm a big holder of Chainlink. It's my second largest bag. I bought a crap ton of it when we confirmed the macro move at $7.50. And I've sold my seed investment at $30. $30 is a strong key level. It's when the inflationary damage in the impact price that we got from the inflationary damage, because Link inflates by about 7% per year. So if you take that math and against its current supply, or if you add the market cap to its current supply of the all-time high, then you'd get the number of around $32. So it tells you that $32 is basically the same valuation of its previous all-time high in terms of market cap. So $30, you got to treat it like it's the all-time high right now for Chainlink. Good morning, man. Zcash. We can take a look at Zcash. I wonder if it's had any relative weakness since everything's had some crazy relative strength, or if it's been following along everything. Probably strength. Oh, thank you. Wifey brought me some coffee. All right. Let's see. Zcash. Okay, we mitigated this supply here. Had a decent reaction off it. Could have helped you with some, like a short-term short, but nothing crazy, unfortunately. So we delete this. We delete this. Yeah, we haven't really looked at Zcash very much, have we? We're looking at hitting our heads up here. Let me delete all that noise. Strong demand down here. Yeah, we're getting a good reaction to the point control. Supply warning here. We had a 15-minute order blocks. Nothing wild, but and we grabbed all of liquidity from this supply high here. Yeah, pretty bearish reaction. Was Bitcoin coming down? Okay, it's coming down a bit. bearish divergence forming. It's not stacking. Oh no, it's about to stack. Yeah, stacking divergence. So right now, yeah, let's delete this. Zcash flips bearish structurally when we break this low at $418.04. Oh, sorry, 418.04. Yeah. So I would be hopeful for a local sweep of this high before jumping into a short, just because structurally it's not looking good for in terms of R&R for a short here. So getting a close below here would give us acceptance back inside this lower time frame value area. When we have the VWAP right in our face. So out of all the assets that we looked at in terms of preparing for a setup, Zcash is my least favorite. But it does still look bearish. Like, it does still look like it's preparing for a drop after grabbing some of the supply up here. Mitigating the order block. We had a large sell shadow wick. And we dipped down below this momentum here a little bit, but we reclaimed it right here. So we can still monitor this as momentum. And we're losing this level and this demand here. We come down to this low again. But I think that this will hold. So I would mark this as an area of interest to prepare for potential longs. Got a little demand here. So this would be a warning sign for anyone who took a or takes a short or took a short. This is going to be your big area of concern once we get past that VWAP. VWAP's first boss, but it's not a very strong one right now. But if we break past that, this is our next big boss when you're in a short. So here you prepare for the posing changes of character that'll bring the price back up to retest these unclaimed highs. Assuming we don't get that first. And then our next big area of interest for longs would be down here at $388. Bitcoin, bro. Bouncing off momentum still. Let's see if we breach it. Get that bearish change of character. If we get the bearish change of character, our strong high is going to be up here. So that's where I would suggest your stop loss. VWAP barrier, but ultimately target, yeah, here. This is where you set your alarms prior to your concerns. So you're not staring at the screen, allowing emotion to get you out. You set your alerts near the areas where you should be looking at your screen. Like near the VWAP or the orb or these previous lows. Thanks, Cal. Nice Sports Center cap. Thanks, man. I stole it from my brother. Yeah, this is the hat that I wear when I need to wash my Bitcoin hat. So, yeah. And sometimes I'm in a hurry, so I'll just throw on a hat instead of do my hair. I think every guy can relate. That's a good key level. Bearish divergence. Point control break confluence. Acceptance into micro value area confluence. Bearish change of character. That's the boring part about trading. It's waiting. And if you don't like waiting, you got to set your pre-alarms. Like right around here. It all depends on what kind of trader you are. Like if you're trading the short-term stuff like this, like a 5-minute structure, 15-minute structure, sometimes you have like 30 minutes, 45 minutes to prepare for your setup. If you're trading like in the 1 minute, I don't think you would have a very high win rate, but if you're trading in the 1 minute, you probably barely have time to like take a sip of your coffee. But if you Yeah, the swing traders are the ones that have the mental fortitude of a god. You got to sometimes wait days for your confirmation. But think of the patience that builds you and how that could help, you know, bleed into your life. At least every guy with hair. Yeah. That's debatable. I find like most people that don't have hair still wear a hat. But I know what you mean by that. I contemplated shaving my head several times. My wife keeps telling me no. So, keeping the hair for now. Oh, we might not take that low, guys. Let's see what happens. I would prefer to test this for that you get better R&R, but you develop a new barrier concern if we take the short here, right? If we get the confirmation there instead. Let's say we get we got the drawing already. Say we get the break. Now we'd have to watch out for the point of control, right? That would be our main barrier concern instead of having the point of control on our side for the close below it. It'd be against us in our trade. So you'd be babysitting this guy quite a bit around here. But if we get past this, then our next area would be the VWAP. Because by then, the VWAP would caught up likely to these previous lows. And that'll be our next area of concern. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I've got to go. I'll post about the new trade right after the live, and I will be posting the new course material today. I typed up this beautiful setup. We had decent confluence, but it's never confirmed. This is the struggle of a signal provider. you type up like a big story, and then what was it? I posted that at 11 o'clock this morning, and at 11:10, it was invalidated. So I'll be writing up a new setup, and I'll let you know if it's confirmed or invalidated, if I'm taking it, if I'm not taking it. And we'll win the trade together. Win or lose. See what happens. But it's looking like it's going to be high confidence for a short. Sterling mentioned that we have another call today at 3:30 p.m. for any members. We just got the stacking divergence confirmation, by the way. Today's going to be the last day for our strategy building call. And then we're going to be changing it over to Mondays at 4 p.m. We're going to be doing trading masterclasses every Monday within the community. Learning about, I got a huge list of stuff that I want to teach you guys. And if it's not in the course, then I'll just take the recording and throw it into the course for us, or cropped it up and put it into the course that way. But yeah, we'll be finalizing our strategy today that it's got a 62.22% win rate. We're going to get a little more samples to get us that more refined win rate data. And then it'll be all forward testing data, live data going forward from that moment. And then if we have a really good month or two with the automated strategy, then we're going to be connecting it to trading bots. So you guys can have it automatically enter the trades for you, exit the trades for you. We just got to get it all set up. All right, guys. Yep. Giveaway on Friday at 11 a.m. If you guys want to jump in, I'll be giving away a $6,000 account for Klein funding. And I'll see you guys then. If not, I'll see you guys tonight if you're a member during the back testing strategy building call. All right, see you guys. Have a great day.